Hey, we're live, guys. We're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is Evan FlippyMcFlipperson. How are you doing today, Evan?
Doing well, Jeff. How about yourself?
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for coming on the show and hanging out with me today. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
My name's Evan. I'm from South Carolina. I go by FlippyMcFlipperson on Instagram and YouTube. And I am a full-time dad and part-time reseller. And like I always tell everybody, I kind of use that term loosely. It seems to be I'm a full-time reseller and full-time dad as well.
Yeah, they're going to go hand in hand. So how are things going for you today? Do you have a good day today?
It was pretty good. Pretty good. Staying busy. I'm about to go out of town, so I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff taken care of.
All right, awesome. So kind of give us an introduction. Kind of tell everybody kind of who is FlippyMcFlipperson. If they haven't seen your YouTube channel or they haven't met you in person, kind of give us a story of who is FlippyMcFlipperson.
So the name actually just kind of, it's a not even a good story, but I was riding down the road one day and my buddy and I were talking about some stuff and said, I need an Instagram name that has to do with reselling and flipping. And he said, how about FlippyMcFlipperson? And it stuck. As far as YouTube goes, it's just me. I'm having fun with the editing part of it. I don't have this big vibrant personality that stands out. So I kind of get my kicks doing the editing part.
Yeah, I try to stay away from the editing. I'm just going to show up, go live, press the red button, and then whatever happens, and we'll try to do better next time. So
yeah, you've got an awesome niche. I really do like it.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it takes more time than what you think. Believe it or not, I do about 3 hours of homework before I have you on the show. So you don't know that, but I do. I watched your show. You were on with Two Dudes Picking. I watched you with Art Vandelay. I watched some of your other live streams. That way I could do my homework. So
right. Well, speaking of live streams, I want to tell you I'm honored. I saw your one with Leroy and Mo the other day, and Leroy was mad he didn't get a car interview, and I'm getting a car interview. So I'm feeling honored.
It just so happened I got a call today. I had to go do a delivery. I had to deliver this cornea, some eyeballs, to this hospital in Gainesville, and they said, hey, it needs to be delivered by 4 o'clock. Can you get it there? And I'm like, dude, I haven't got my shoes on. I haven't got dressed. I haven't pulled my eBay orders. I haven't stopped at the gas station. I haven't got a chance to go anywhere. So when I'm not shooting YouTube videos or selling stuff on eBay, I work for this medical courier company, and they were like, hey, we have to have this delivery stat. So I was just like, well, we'll make it work. So that's where I'm at. I'm up. Yeah,
that's how you get paid, right?
I'm up. I live in Tampa, so I'm up in Gainesville now. I just got done delivering some eyeballs to this hospital. They had to have it their stats. So it's just one of those things. Yeah, I don't mind it, man. It's not a bad gig. I'll tell you this week, just from me freelancing, because I don't have a set schedule. Just this week alone, my paycheck was over $1,800. That's and that's just from freelancing, working for the courier company. So that's why I said we'll just make it work. And because I don't have a set schedule, it's all on demand. So it's like, all right, get up and go. So
that's a good gig though. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So if you can get, I usually work at night when there's no traffic. So it just so happens it was in the middle of the day. They said, we need it here by 4 o'clock. Can you get it there? And I said, well, maybe 4:30. I'll see what I can do. They like, it's one of those things where they have somebody on the operating table. They got to get it there ASAP. So, but anyways, everybody here came to see you today. So we're going to talk about you today, Evan. I wanted to say hey to a few people in the chat. We got BK from the Rockies. We got SC Thrifted Treasures is here. Steve-O was in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Art Vandelay. I wanted to say hey to Death Pile Destroyers is here. I wanted to say hey to Hot Flip Heidi is in the chat. Thank you guys for coming by and hanging out. Art Vandelay, your logo looks different. Did you change your logo recently? He says, hey, Steve-O. So thank you guys for coming by. If you have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat. So there's a lot of you resellers that live in South Carolina. So
there's a ton, and there's a ton of YouTube resellers, which I guess is how people find out about them. But yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, so I heard that you were on with Harry Tornado. You ran into Prison of Profit a couple times. So I mean, you're just a YouTuber by proxy, right? Just kind of hanging out with everybody, right? How did that go? Tell everybody how your YouTube channel come into existence. Tell them how it started.
So basically, it's kind of started with my kids. When this pandemic hit, we were sitting at home looking for something to do, and we used to geocache a lot, and we picked that back up and started doing a bunch of geocaching, place to get outside and that kind of thing. And the kids wanted to do a YouTube channel about it. So we started doing that, and that lasted about 3 or 4 trips. And as kids do, they got bored with it, and I actually enjoyed the editing part of it. So I just kind of picked it up and did my own thing.
Okay, so they kind of got bored of it, and you're just like, well, I'm just going to keep on,
That's
it
right.
on, and see how it goes. So your channel's been growing. Every time I check on you, your channel's been growing, and you've been making progress, and you're making some editing. There's one video that I want to talk to you about in particular that really stuck out to me, and it was something about like, I'm a terrible reseller, because what you did is you were showing video of like, here's like 10 things that I just walked right by that I could have made big money, major profit on. One of them was like a fan. One of them was like some ink toner cartridge. And you're like, hey, I could have bought this fan for $5 and sold it for $100. So when you're at these estate sales or yard sale, what is your strategy? Is there a certain niche that you're looking for? Are you just looking for anything that you can make a buck on? Because I think if we're all honest, I think we all have days like that where we're walking and we're just minding our business, and it's like I don't know if it's like in your peripheral vision, but you walk right by money items that you could flip and make a profit on, but you don't even know it. So can you talk a little bit about that?
And that particular video, it started off as just me going to garage sales. And as I'm editing it, I'm like, well, that thing was probably worth some money. Let me look that up. And I did. And like you said, that fan was worth $100, and the toner was worth 20 or 30. There was some software worth 40 or 50. And I'm like, I'm missing all this stuff. So video took a total different direction. But as far as niches go, I really don't have one. Whatever I can make a buck on, I'll sell anything.
Right. I'm with you on that. But yeah, I was looking at some of the stuff and I was walking by before we even showed it. I was like, I would have got that ink toner. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback where you're like, I would have bought that. But when you're there and it's, you're hungry, it's 100 degrees, you've been on your feet all day, you're just trying to get in and get out. So, but when you're
people they're talking with you, want to have a conversation, and you can't concentrate and haven't had coffee yet, and you miss them.
Yeah. Right. So when you're at these estate sales or yard sales, are you cool with just standing there and scanning the barcodes and looking items up in front of the customers? Or do you just kind of have, because you've been doing this for a while, so some resellers, they kind of have a gut feeling or a gut interaction where they're like, hey, I know this is worth more than $2. So what is it that you kind of go with when you're out there at yard sales and estate sales? Like, do you comp everything? Do you just kind of play it by ear? How does that work for you?
Well, like you said, I've been doing it 5 or 6 years. So, some things I just know, like a lot of golf clubs, I just know to pick them up. But then things that I've never seen before that are unique, that are made well, I'll at least pick them up and comp them. It takes 2 seconds, so why not? As far as hiding that, no, I don't. I pull out my phone right in front of somebody, and I don't think they care.
Now, I have a question for you. Have you been recognized at any of these yard sales or estate sales? Have people recognize you from YouTube and say, hey, there's FlippyMcFlipperson. There he is.
I had one guy, local, and he was one and only so far. So it actually kind of shocked me. I don't have a huge subscriber base, but I think it was Ben, and he was super nice and introduced himself, and it's pretty cool, actually.
Okay, so that's cool. So you have been recognized. I was actually watching Tesla Picker a couple months ago, and he was at a yard sale, and this lady was like, oh, it's Tesla Picker. Like, they were freaking out like he was some kind of celebrity or something. So I'm like, man, you never know when you're shooting YouTube videos who's watching your video and who you're going to run into down the line. So
very true.
It's always been a crazy thing. So let me say hello real quick to Colt Film Video, says smash the like button. Thanks for coming by. Hot Flip Heidi says, you want to edit my videos? And I wanted to say hey to BK from the Rockies. He says, shout out to SC Thrifted Treasures. And I wanted to say hey to Art Vandelay and Death Pile Destroyers and FC Thrifted Treasures. If you guys have questions for our guests, now's your chance. Dropping them in the chat. We're going to, drop them, ask them some questions. So I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about how did you first get started in your reselling adventures? Like, what was it that got you started into reselling? Because it was something that you were kind of like maybe dabbling in part-time, and then you kind of switched over to doing it more full-time. Talk a little bit about how that worked for you.
Yeah, so, my mom and stepdad have always been going to yard sales and thrift stores, and, I'd kind of go with them and find some stuff for personal use. And after a while, you just kind of realize that people are giving stuff away that's worth a lot of money. So I would, pick a couple things up and throw it on eBay. And my last job, I kind of did like you. I'd travel around and I'd have appointments. So in between appointments, I'd hit a thrift store, or if there was an estate sale or something, I'd stop off and it just kind of grew from there. I'd pick up stuff and list it, and I had a job change. We moved, and that's how I kind of became, I guess, full time. I'm a full time dad, but do this on the side. And when my wife switched jobs, we moved. I didn't keep my old job, and I started doing this.
Okay, yeah. So you were just like, hey, I'm just gonna forget that old job. I'm now gonna be a full-time reseller.
Pretty
And
much.
so how has that been for you? I mean, because it's the cool thing is you get to kind of control your own schedule, so you can kind of spend time with your family and kind of be listing items and doing reselling and packing and shipping from home at the same time. So kind of how has that been for you since you're kind of working from home now?
It's actually hard. I'm not a very good time manager, so I kind of do stuff in bunches. Like I might get 20 listings done one day and none the next. And I'm actually shipping from my storage unit. I have a storage unit now. I got kicked out of the garage. But yeah, too much stuff. I've got around 1,300 listings, so it takes up a lot of room.
Okay. So you got kicked out of your garage and now you're in a storage unit.
Yep.
So you have 1,300 items. So how does that work? So whenever you sell an item, you go and like pull your items the night before or the next day, you go and pull and pack and ship all your items, or how does that work for you?
I go pull, pack, and ship all my items at the storage unit, and then it's like a mile to the post office from there. So I actually drop it off. So it's pretty neat system. I've actually got I don't have power at the storage unit, so I have my laptop, and then my phone has a wireless hub on it, so I can connect to that, and then I've got a battery backup that runs my thermal printer, so I can print, pack, and ship all right there at my storage unit.
So all the items that you have there, like in your storage unit, do you have them like marked and serialized and all that? So like where you can find them easier, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, I've got bins. Each one's clothing items and small items are in bins, and each one's labeled what bin they are in the custom SKU on eBay. So I pretty much can, know everything is.
Okay, cool. So talk to me, what is your like regular daily schedule and routine? Like, are your kids, are they old enough to be in school now, or are they like homeschooling, or how does that work?
They are in school full time now. We get up about 5:45 every morning. They get on the bus at 6:30, and that's when I'm free to go to work. Then they get home at 3, and that's kind of when I'm off of work, I guess. Helping with homework, helping cook supper, that kind of thing. My wife's working from home now too, so I've actually had a lot more time to work because she can share that responsibility. So my sales have actually grown because of that. This whole stay-at-home thing for both of us has been really good for business.
Man, so what is that like for you having the house to yourself? Like when the kids are at school, your wives are at work, and you wake up and you have the house to yourself. There's no, it's like peace and quiet. Like how is that? Like that's your time. Well, you have to go to work too when they're going, right?
That's right, and that's where that discipline comes in, because I could sit around and watch TV all day, I guess, if I wanted to, but at the same time I wouldn't make any money either. So got to have that discipline to get up, get motivated, and get to do it.
Yeah. So you list the items from home and then you take them to your storage unit?
That's
or
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a listing station actually right behind me here, and I'll bring everything here, list it, I throw them in my IKEA bags, and take them to the storage unit and put them where they need to go.
Yeah. So how is it like, you mentioned staying motivated. How is it for you to stay motivated? Because, I watched another live stream and you said that you guys can pretty much pay all your bills just with your wife's income alone, right? So to you, it's kind of like the extra money that you make reselling. It's not like a lot of other people are like, man, I've got to make money because I've got to pay this light bill. For to you, you're just like, all our bills are going to be paid every month, whether I sell anything or not. So how is it for you to be kind of disciplined and motivated and stuff to keep hustling and keep working on your resale business when you don't feel like it? Because we all have days when you just don't feel like it,
That's right. And it's, if I wasn't bringing in income, I wouldn't feel, like I was pulling my weight. But at the same time, I love what I do. I absolutely love it. If I would honestly do reselling for free, I think. But I just love going to thrift stores, yard sales, finding that valuable item and bringing it home and listing it and selling it for crazy amounts of money, a couple of days later or a month later. I just love what I do, so it helps me stay motivated.
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, the thing is, like, I make enough money from my regular, I guess, 9-to-5 job to pay all my bills. So any extra money I make from eBay, I try to take as much of it I can and reinvest it back into my business so it'll grow. Because it's not like I need it to pay a cell phone bill or a light bill every month. So
Right.
I can kind of relate, but I don't have any kids to take care of. So it's just me. So
that's right. And we use a lot of that for travel. We like to travel. We like to go, especially like a lot of weekend trips. That eBay money is good for travel, and we don't have to feel, guilty, I guess, when we go out of town because it's extra money.
Yeah, well, that's good. And you said you got another vacation coming up soon. You just went to the PGA thing recently. You want to talk about that? And you said you have another vacation coming up soon.
Yeah, so I went last Wednesday to the PGA Championship down in Kiowa and watched a practice round. Really cool. And then Thursday of this week, we are leaving. We're going to Northern Virginia and DC to basically on a thrift trip. And it looks like it's going to be raining all weekend, so we may head a different direction. We just might get on the road and head west towards like Alabama, Mississippi, and see what happens. We like to do that sometimes.
I hear you, man. Yeah, I travel so much for my job that when I'm not on the road traveling, I just want to be in my room, turn the air conditioner on about 65, and just put my feet up and just chill and relax for a little bit. Let me say hello to a few people in the chat. We have Donna's Diamonds is here. She says, "Hey, Paul, I hope you get better and better." We have Philly Flipper is here. He says, "Hey, Donna." He says, "That's what my taxes are so high because of tax write-offs." I wanted to say, hey, to Derek, Fundamentals of Side Hustling, thanks for coming by and hanging out with us today. We appreciate you. He says, "Can't wait for my kids to get back into school." Yeah, that would be nice. And Philly Flipper says, "Evan," with like 4 exclamation marks. We got a quick question from Hot Flip Heidi. She wants to know, what percentage of your house can you write off as a business use? Like, so if you have like a stay-at-home office or something, like a little corner room of your house, how much of that can you write off on your taxes? Do you know? Because I was told it was like 25%, but I don't know. I'm not a tax expert, so I don't know. Quote me. Don't say, well, yeah, Jeff said so.
I think it's based on the square footage. Like if the room I'm sitting in is my office, so if it measures 10 by 20, it's 120 square feet. And that's what they base the write-off on, as far as I know.
Okay, yeah, I'm not 100% sure, so don't ask me and then say, then your CPS guy says, "Oh, well, I watched this guy on YouTube and he told me it was this much." I'm not an expert. Yeah, I don't know 100% for sure on that. I don't want to lead you wrong. I wanted to say hey to Landshark Picker. He says, "Nothing to do in Alabama."
A lot of golf courses. Robert Trent Jones golf trail is there, so hopefully you're going to find some clubs.
So, FlippyMcFlipperson, man, tell me, what is your most favorite part that you love about reselling? Because you said you love doing this job so much that you would do it for free. So what is like your most favorite part about reselling that you enjoy the most? And what is the part that you dislike the most? Like, what would you what would you say?
The most would be the hunt. I love going to yard sales, thrift stores, and just finding those items that are worth so much. To me, it's a big rush. It's exciting. Sometimes it's like winning the lottery. But I, like everybody else, I hate the listing part. But it's part of it. That'd be the low part, the listing, especially clothes. I hate clothes.
Yeah, man, I'm not a big fan of clothes, and I try to stay away from items that are breakable. I mean, I see some people that sell, golfy mugs, or they'll sell glassware. I just am so afraid if I go and put something like that in the mail, that they're just going to be like the big T-Rex and just stomp all over my package, and it's going to show up and it's going to be in 10 pieces, So I try to stay away from glass, and it's not like I'm afraid of clothing, but I get so irritated when it's like, I'll post a pair of blue jeans and I'll say, here's Wrangler blue jeans or Levi blue jeans. It's 36-32. I have all the dimensions in the description on eBay, and then I'll still get 99 questions, or someone will buy it and it didn't fit them properly and they want to return it. And I think the thing is that, with clothing, it's one of those things that people have to be able to physically try on. And it's hard for them to do that online. It's hard for them to be like, oh yeah, I tried on those, that t-shirt or those shorts and it fit perfectly. It's hard for them to do that from looking at a photo online, because sometimes, let's say a shirt may be a 2X for me, and then it may be an Adidas or a different brand, it may be 3X that fit you. So it's kind of hard, man. I try to stay away from clothing, and it's not because I'm like, oh, I'm lazy and I don't want to list the item. It's just all the headache of dealing with customer returns, dealing with people sending you 4 or 5 messages, and they want you to give them the exact measurements and all the dimensions. It's just a big headache and a big hassle. So is that the same for you with dealing with clothing?
Pretty much. Like you said, you get a bunch of ridiculous questions, and you know, when I list a shirt, I actually take pictures of my tape measure on the shirt showing the measurements. And everybody get that question, well, what's the width from pit to pit? So you just reply with the picture that was in the listing that shows exactly what they were asking for. But yeah, I still do close, but I don't get a whole lot of returns. Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Okay. Well, yeah. That's good. That's good. I wanted to give a shout out to Travis R. He says, what's up? Donna says, I don't fear breakables anymore. Well, that's good. Landshark Picker says, if you pack them correctly, you don't have to worry about them breaking. Well, hey, maybe that works for you. Where I'm at in Florida, I think they just throw my packages like Frisbees, and wherever they land, that's where they land. So I think that's just been my experience. If you don't have issues with it, I'm happy for you. So, but yeah, I mean, I think probably my least favorite thing is probably pulling orders, because I have all my items is like I list my items in the house and I have air conditioning, but out in the shed, there's no air conditioning. And it's warm in Florida year round. So when I'm out here pulling orders, it can be hot and humid and muggy outside, especially like at noon, 1 o'clock, you're pulling orders. So I try to do mine in the middle of the night at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning when the sun's not out. So I'm not out in the heat. I try to pull all my orders the night before. So that's probably my least favorite thing is pulling orders. And I don't really mind listing items and taking photos, because every time I'm listing them, I'm listing items, I almost feel like I'm depositing a check in my eBay bank account. So it doesn't really bother me so much. And that would probably be the least favorite thing. And, you know, the treasure hunt thing is definitely fun. So have you got your family? Are they involved with reselling? Your daughters and your wife, do they support you in that or no?
My daughters are not big fans of thrift stores. I can talk them into going to a yard sale every now and then. My wife loves it probably as much as I do. She, like I said, we're going this week just to go thrifting and to hit yard sales. That's our vacation. So that's what we love to do. So she's a big part for sure. The kids, not so much.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So what has been some of your like biggest flips that you have off the top of your head that you've had lately that you can remember that kind of stand out to you? Because I watched some of your YouTube videos and it's like you bought a golf club for $20 and then you'll turn around and sell it for $80 or $100. So can you talk a little bit about what some of your biggest flips are, or are there any particular hot items that we should be on the lookout right now for?
The one you're talking about was probably a Nike driver, and Nike doesn't make golf clubs anymore. It's a real big neon green driver. I paid $20 for it, and it sold for actually $225. So golf stuff is definitely hot right now, especially kids clubs. I've been selling a lot of kids clubs lately for $200 and $250, somewhere in there. My biggest flip was actually a PlayStation. It was a sealed PlayStation, the original PlayStation that I got from a yard sale. It was 12 o'clock. I started not to go and happened to pull up, and a lady was putting it out. I paid $10 for it, and it sold for $750.
Wow. Well, $10 into $750. That's a big come up on that one, man.
Yeah.
Bet you were excited.
Pretty much. And when I bought it, I just saw that it was in the box. I didn't know it was sealed. I got it back in the car, and it was only $10. I got it back in the car and saw one little piece of tape where it'd never been opened, and that made it worth $750.
Right. So, since I have you on the live stream, what would be like your top 2 or 3 pieces of advice that you could give somebody if maybe they would like to be a full-time reseller, or even if they're doing it part-time and they just want to make more money in reselling? Like, what would be some of your 2 or 3 tips, pieces of advice that you could give to somebody that would help them out?
To me, the biggest part of reselling is knowing what to buy. It's education. So watch YouTube. All the people that Jeff interviews, watch them. They've got a wealth of information. That's why he interviews them. And just do your research. Look stuff up. If it's something well made, it's probably worth money. So just look it up. It takes 2 seconds. That'd probably be my biggest advice, is just learn what to sell and what to buy. Yeah,
man. I mean, looking stuff up is important, but I think it's really important just to have goals. This is my thing that I've been looking at, because I can't come to you and say, hey, Flippy, you need to list 100 items today, because everybody's situation is different. So I think everybody should have goals and say, hey, this is what my goal is for this week or this month. And then, every week, just make a little bit of progress every week towards whatever your goals are. I think that's really important, because everybody's situation is different. Like to you, like you said, you may have time in your day to list 20 items one day, and then maybe 40 the next, and the next day maybe you're out of town on vacation and you listed 0. So it all kind of adds up. So is there anything that you do in particular as far as your shipping that you could pass along some advice? Because I noticed that specifically when you were shipping golf clubs, you had these things wrapped in some wrap. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, golf clubs are usually the heads. I'll take and wrap them in bubble wrap so they're not clanging together. But as far as I'm concerned, the best tool that you can buy for shipping is a box resizer. That thing has saved me so much time and so much money. I just love it. They're like $10 on Amazon. If you don't have the right size box, cut it down. Makes it, you don't have to put as much bubble wrap in the box, not as much fill. It's going to save you money on shipping. Just get a box resizer. It's as far as shipping goes, to me, it's a lifesaver.
So there's a question I've been dying to ask you. I haven't got a chance to ask you yet. So you got to meet up with Casey, the Carolina thrifter, and I saw that video where you were at this like yard sale and you walked right by all these golf clubs, and there was, I don't know, man, maybe 100 of them. I mean, there was a bunch of them, a big, huge pile of golf clubs, and you had it on video and you recorded it. You saw them there, but you never asked the lady if they were for sale. So do you want to tell us a story about what happened there?
So I was actually at a yard sale. It was a community yard sale in my area. And I'm walking down the driveway, and all of a sudden here's this dude that I recognize, and it's Casey. Well, he was hustling because that man is on a mission when it comes to yard sales. It's insane. But he's looking for golf clubs, and so we kind of went our separate ways. And he messaged me later and said, "Hey, I'm done. You want to meet up for a cup of coffee or breakfast or something?" And I said, "I'm not done yet. I'm a little bit slower than you are." So I said, "But if you want to meet up, you can ride with me." And where I was and told him to come to, I was actually at that garage sale. So I'm looking around and I didn't see the golf clubs. I got them on film, but I didn't see them myself. And I didn't find anything there. So I left, and he actually came to where I was, and I messaged him and said, "Ready when you are." And he said, "Hold on, I found this awesome score." I think he paid $100 for all those golf clubs, and he's going to turn them into a couple thousand. And I walked right by it. And they were sitting in the corner of a garage, and I didn't even ask if they were for sale. Didn't see them. But it was a heck of a score for him.
Yeah, so I heard that you and Casey met up recently for a couple rounds of golf. Who won? Tell us the truth. Who won? You or Casey? Which one of you guys won in the golf game?
No lie, it was a dead tie. No, we tied. We both played bad and we tied.
Okay, well we'll go with that. We'll go with it was a tie.
Yeah, we really did. So next time it's on, we might have to play for a meal or something.
I'm telling you, yeah. Loser buys dinner or something. Or that'd be something. So right. So tell me, man, have you got a chance to meet up with any other resellers in your area? I mean, you have Twin Flippers lives not too far from you. You ran into Harry Tornado. You actually were in Harry Tornado's video not too long ago, a while back, wasn't it?
Yeah, he and I played golf a couple times. And I've played golf with Rewilded Reselling, Wyatt. And like I said, we met up with Casey a couple times. It's a good group of people around here, real friendly, and it's not competitive, which is awesome.
Yeah, you would think with so many resellers in your area that you wouldn't be able to find stuff, but the truth is there's literally stuff everywhere. Just like in that video where you were like, "Hey, I was at this estate sale and I scored these items, but I still left behind 10 other items that I could have picked up and flipped and made a profit on." So
that's right. I missed out on all that stuff, but I still made a really good profit at those sales.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, is that there's so much merchandise that there's enough for everybody if they're willing to go out and hustle. And so that's probably the biggest thing that probably gets under my skin is people that want results, but they don't want to put in the work. I don't know why that is. And it's not just reselling, it's just in general. The people, when you worked at their regular 9-to-5 job and they were always the people showing up to work late and wanting to leave early and then complaining that they didn't make the same amount of money you did on their paycheck. Those people just, for whatever reason, they just get under my skin. So absolutely. I don't know. It's not nothing personal, but I'm just like, if you don't know how to do something and you message me and say, "I need help with something," I'll help you. But if you have all the information and you know how to do it and you just don't want to put in the work, I'm just like throw my hands up in the air. I'm like, what do you expect? The way the world works.
Your hand out. That's right. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, you get paid on commission. So you're going to get out of it what you're willing to put into it. So if you're only willing to do this much amount of work, you're going to get this much amount of results. So let me say hello to our friend here, Baldy Pal Pickin. He was just on here with me on Sunday. And you were a guest on his show recently. It was a while back, wasn't it? How did that go?
It went good. I love Adam and Gary. They're two guys, and I'm still waiting on Adam to come to South Carolina and eat some barbecue and play some golf with me. So we'll see when that happens, hopefully.
Okay. Well, yeah, give him a shout. See if you can make that happen. He says, "Hey, Jeff and Flippy." He says, "I want to know how good is the barbecue in South Carolina." This is an important question.
There you go. Come and find out. It's awesome.
All right. So what is your biggest challenge being self-employed? Because you talked earlier is that you gotta have to stay disciplined, but also like if your kids need something, if you have to help them with homework or cooking dinner or doing laundry or giving the kids a bath, like what would be your biggest challenge to you being self-employed, being a reseller? Because you're kind of splitting your time between reselling, shooting YouTube videos, and then spending time with your family. So what would you say is like your biggest obstacle or biggest challenge that you have?
The hardest part for me is staying on task and not getting distracted. Like, working from home, I might get up and go get a cup of coffee. Well, while I'm getting a cup of coffee, I look in the sink and there's dirty dishes in there. Well, I need to clean those and put them in the dishwasher. Open the dishwasher, there's clean dishes in there that need to be put up before I can put new ones in. My cup of coffee is turned into 30 minutes later because I've folded clothes and everything else, and I've got nothing done. So the hardest part for me is staying on task and being disciplined. And of course, when I do have free time, I want to go thrifting instead of listing. So once again, trying not to get distracted is the hard part.
Right. So, what is your like a listing technique? Do you have a technique or a strategy you do when you list items? Like me personally, like when I list items here lately, I've been doing stuff in batches. So, like, let's say if I need to list 50 items, I'll have like 5 stacks of 10. So I'll have a stack of 10, stack of 10, stack of 10, stack of 10, stack of 10. And then when my 5 stacks are listed, I'll be like, hey, I've reached my goal. I've listed 50 items. Do you kind of batch your items together, or what is your like strategy as far as listing, or do you just reach over and first item you grab, or how does that work for you?
Pretty much first item I grab, but I do typically do it in batches. I don't usually list 1 or 2 items. It's at least 8 or 10, and I'll take all the pictures with my phone and then move over to my desktop. And I actually have a Google phone, so everything goes from my phone to my Google Photos account, so I can just download them straight into eBay and then list directly from my desktop. To me, that's the easiest way. I have a real appreciation for all these guys that list straight from their phone. I can't do it.
Yeah, I list most of my items from my phone, but I list mostly media items, so it's very easy. I scan a barcode, take a picture front and back, on to the next one. Sometimes I'll just use the box art, so it goes by pretty quickly. So now, Evan, I don't know if you mind sharing this with our audience. You mind telling us what has your sales been on eBay for the past 90 days? You mind telling our audience?
I think it's around 22,000.
Okay.
I looked yesterday.
Right. So you said around 22,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you take 22,000 divided by 3 months, that's about $7,000 a month, guys. So I'm just asking because, not like your personal business. I'm just asking in case someone's like, hey, can you really make money being a full-time reseller? Can you really make money doing this? And I mean, that's probably close to between $80,000 and $100,000 a year right there of gross sales that you make on eBay, right?
Yeah, and I'm a big proponent of that. Reselling is definitely a viable income, whether it's a side hustle or full time. I mean, if you put the work into it, you can definitely get money out of it. Absolutely.
Okay, so what would be like I'm trying to like pick your brain here. Like, what would be some of your strategies as far as scaling and growing your business? Let's say I'm doing $1,000 or $2,000 a month. I have an eBay store. I'm making some sales, but I want to kind of grow it and scale it to the point where I can make $7,000-8,000 a month. Like, how do I go from $1,000 to $8,000 a month in sales? Like, what would I need to do?
To me, it's once again, it's research, it's time, it's experience. I started out selling clothes and making $10, $15 an item, and I've tried to move up to items with bigger ROI. Like those golf clubs that pay $20 for. I used to be scared to pay over $2 or $3 for an item because I didn't know if it'd sell on eBay. But as that experience grows, you're willing to invest more, you'll make more. So I'm trying to move up into higher ROI items. So that,
okay, awesome.
Do your research and learn what sells. Once again.
Okay. Now, you sell a lot of golf clubs. So does Casey, the Carolina Thrifter. Is there any like brands? Is there anything in particular that we should be on the lookout for when we're out looking at golf clubs? Because I sometimes when I look at these bigger or bulkier items, it's like my brain shuts off, like a baseball bat or a golf club, because I just think about how much of a pain in the butt it is going to be to try to not so much take photographs of it, but box it up and ship it out. So what is it in specifically that you're looking for when you're looking at brands? You said Nike. Is there anything in particular that we should be looking for?
Nike's a good one because they don't make them anymore. You got, your Callaway, your Titleist, Ping. Those are typically all really good brands to at least look up. They're not all super valuable, but they're at least worth looking up. Typically, they're going to have some value. And Cleveland's a good one. If you can find a Cleveland wedge, it's going to sell. May only get you 20 or 30 bucks, but it's going to sell.
Okay, cool. Let me say hello to Art Vandelay. He says he lists from his phone. Boldy Pal Pickens says, tell us about the recent pot deals at the yard sale. And I wanted to say, hey, to the Flippin' Accountant, thanks for coming by and hanging out with us. His channel's been taking off lately. And Boldy Pal Pickens says, I list from my phone, pictures and all. So I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about when he says, tell us about recent pot deals at a yard sale. What is that? I think he's talking about pots and pans.
Pots and pans, yeah. I was at a yard sale. I pulled up to a yard sale, and a lady was putting out a bunch of pots and pans, and I actually recognized them from the street. They were Wagner ware, Magnolite, and they're actually sitting right here. I've got about 10 or 12 pots and pans, and they're in really good condition. Asked what she wanted for them, and she told me $5. So yeah, I scooped them up, and we're probably talking resale value maybe $300 or $400. I mean, it was a heck of a buy.
Yeah, I think I saw a photo of it. It might have been on Instagram or something. Yeah, and you tag some people and it's like, hey, is this a good deal for $5? Right. And I just started laughing because I already knew the people you were tagging. I actually had them on the show before, so I actually knew the people who you were talking about. So I wanted to say hey to Antiques from Karen. Janet is here. I wanted to say hey to Travis R. So talk to me a little bit about what was your background, like what were you doing before you became a full-time reseller? Like you were, you think you were in like home improvement or something? Can you talk a little bit about what your background is?
I sold awnings, garage doors, canopies, screen rooms, sunrooms in the home improvement industry. I basically ran 2 crews, which is a stress in and of itself, and then dealing with customers as well. So it's a pretty stressful job. I did that for about 13 years. And then my wife got a job up here and we moved. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Reselling that's when that took it off.
So I know this might seem like an odd question, but what would be like the thing that you've noticed the difference for you from working your regular full-time 9-to-5 job, right, where you were doing this home remodeling and home repair business, right, and to now being like self-employed and working from home doing this reselling thing? Like, I'm sure it's night and day, but like, what would be like the biggest difference that really stands out to you?
It's the stress level and the fact that I can control everything myself. What I put out is what I get out of it. You know, when I tell a crew to go do an install and I tell them a specific way that it needs to be done, they don't always do it that way. And then, you know, I've got customers calling me in the middle of the night. My garage door is broken. With eBay, I don't have that. You know, I take the pictures. If something goes wrong, if I ship it wrong, if something breaks, it's all on me. So there's a lot less stress there, and I can kind of control everything.
So Evan, talk to me a little bit about what are some of your plans, like future endeavors? Like what are some of your future projects or goals that you have? Like what is it that you plan on doing, let's say in 6 months from now or a year or so from now, that you kind of have on the back burner that you're working on? Because you don't really have that much free time, honestly, with your family and shooting YouTube videos and reselling. Is there anything else that's kind of on the back burner, or any other future goals or future projects that you're working on?
Not a whole lot. I really want to get involved with estate sales more. And, you know, we're kind of cruising, like I've been doing this for 5 or 6 years now. So we're kind of cruising along. My wife and I are enjoying it, and maybe save up to travel a lot more. Once this COVID things gets calmed down a little bit, we want to travel a lot more and take off and be able to enjoy some free time.
Yeah, well, that's one great thing about reselling is that you don't have to like get permission to take 2 weeks off of vacation. And if you want to go, you can just go. You don't have to get 5 people to sign off on the docket that says, hey, you know, I've got approved where I could take 2 weeks of vacation. If you want to go, you can just hop in the car and go. So are you going to be scaling your business? Because you said you had about 1,300 items. Are you going to try to grow it to maybe to 2,000 or 3,000 items, or are you just going to kind of stay where you're at?
Probably going to stay where I'm at. I haven't been picking up as much stuff because I've got so many, but I've been picking up bigger items that have more of a return. So I can get the same amount of return with less items, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, like this week I just ordered, I don't know, 150 Blu-rays that I won on an auction on eBay. So I paid like $1 a piece for them. And then whenever I resell them, they're going to sell anywhere from $10 to $15 to $20 a piece. So in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, worst case scenario, I should be able to turn my $150 into, let's say, $10 a piece, $1,500 gross, right? But you have to subtract your cost of goods and you have to subtract your eBay fees. So I'll probably net like maybe $1,100, $1,200 total. But the thing is, I'm shipping out, 150 items where you maybe only have to ship out, 15 or 20 or 25 items to get the same type of ROI that I'm getting for shipping out, a higher volume of packages. So it's just like, I feel like eBay, there's like one or two ways you can do it. You can either do the volume game where I'm in, or you can try to sell higher ticket items and try to get a higher margin for your items. I don't know why, but I always have this thing in the back of my mind that it's like, if I sell some expensive item, let's say like if I sell a cell phone or a laptop or a tablet, like I'm always worried that they're going to like scam me out of a $300 or $400 item, and I'm going to get some junk back in the mail, and then I'm going to have to give them a refund and they keep the item. Has that ever happened to you? Do you have any crazy horror stories of that happening to you?
I actually had one kind of recently. I bought a storage unit from a lady, paid $400 for all this security equipment, and there was like 10 or 12 hard drives that you hook up to security cameras that keeps the footage. And I sold one recently, 4 parts as is, not working. That it was in the appropriate category. It was listed correctly, everything. Guy gets it, says, I can't use it as password locked. Well, I told you it didn't work. So, I'm sorry, I can't accept the return. Well, eBay actually automatically accepted the return. He left me negative feedback, and eBay would not back me at all. If they left the feedback on there, wouldn't give me my money back. I had to pay shipping both ways, which was to California. It was this huge item. I think it was like $45 both ways. Yeah. And I had to give him a refund of $200 something. So, yeah.
Well, I guess that's just the cost of doing business because, Walmart and all these big guys, they get returns as well. So it's not just you. You can't just be like, oh, woe is me. All these big customers like Walmart and Target, they get returns just like we do. So, I wanted to say hello real quick to Energy for Sale. Had a question that says, where do you get the cheapest boxes to ship? And I wanted to say, hey, to Antique from Karen Janet. She says ROI. So I get most of my shipping supplies with my shipping coupon, usually probably 9 times out of 10. Most of the items that I have, they fit in these padded envelopes right here. These are 6x9 padded envelopes. And usually 9 times out of 10, my items will fit in this little padded envelope. And I just use the shipping coupon that eBay gives me every quarter. Would you have any recommendations where they can get cheap boxes to ship their items out?
I use, like you said, the eBay coupon that you get quarterly. And then also I've bought from the Boxery on eBay. They have a store on eBay. It's pretty reasonably priced. And then I actually found another place that's local to me called Corrugated Containers. They have a website, Boxes, BOXS.com. They're pretty reasonably priced as well.
Okay, cool. I wanted to say hey to the Frugal Peanut Reseller is here. Lewis Moore says, hey, what's up? Jeff didn't want to play Call of Duty with me. Hey, it wasn't that I didn't want to play a game with you, bro. I know you're not going to believe me, but I had to do a delivery. I had to deliver some eyeballs to this hospital, and it had to be there urgent. And it's like, I got a call from my dispatcher and was like, hey, we have to have these eyeballs delivered to the surgery ASAP. So I had to go because I still work my regular job. So I had to go take care of it. But I'll be on later. If you want to play Call of Duty later this afternoon, I'll be on later and we'll play. I wanted to say hey to Antiques from Carrots. Janet says the post office has a bunch of free items. And Energy for Sale says ROI is return on investment. He said that's an awesome excuse, bro. That's real world. Here. You see my shirt right here? You see my shirt? Like I'm in uniform, bro. I had to work. I had to go do a delivery, but I'll be on later. If you want to come hang out, we'll go and work. We'll go and play some games later. But for real, man, I really do work. You guys think I'm joking around? I really do usually work 6-7 days a week. I'm not joking around with you guys. So when you don't see me on YouTube or working on my eBay store, I do work my regular job. So Evan, I wanted to talk to you before we let you go. Tell us a story about you buying some stuff. I saw you on Baldy Pal Pickens' channel, and you said that you had bought some storage units in the past, and you kind of crashed and burned. A lot of the stuff that was in these storage units was junk that you had to take off to the junk hauler. So can you talk to me about your experience with that?
Yeah, I bought 2 storage units. And the very first one, I think I paid $50 for, and it took me 4 or 5 hours to clean out, and there was nothing of value. I had to pretty much take everything to the dump. There was a washer and dryer in there. I actually hooked them up and tested them. That took some time, and they didn't work at all. I couldn't get anything in the washing machine. I turned it on and water went everywhere. So it was nothing but junk. But now the second one, the most recent one, I paid $400 for. It was actually a Facebook ad. It wasn't even an auction, and it was a bunch of security equipment. I've made a lot on it. That was a heck of a return there.
Yeah, so it's kind of a crapshoot with when you're buying these storage lockers, because you don't. I mean, from what I've seen, when people are buying storage lockers, like they stand outside and they can look from the outside looking in, but you don't get to go through the boxes. Like you don't know what you're actually getting till they say sold, and you actually get in there and dig in and look at it, right?
That's right. That's right. And that's how the first one I bid on it, and it was only $50, so I figured I couldn't lose, but I was actually wrong. If you value your time at all, it takes a lot of time to clean those things out, and then you got to find a place to dispose of it or donate it, or anything that's not valuable, you got to get rid of it.
Yeah, and another thing they don't tell you about is when you're in the back of these trailers or you're in the back of these storage units, it's hot in there. There's some of these places, there's no air conditioning, there's no fans. You're in there, and you got dust and dirt and, you got junk all around you. And you're just like, sometimes you're going to be hating your life. You're going to be like, man, what was I thinking when I bought this unit? So
especially in August in South Carolina when it's 800 degrees and 100% humidity, it's miserable.
Right, and you're inside of one of these storage units, digging through, looking for treasures, as they say, right? So Evan, hey man, I appreciate you coming on, hanging out with me today. Tell everybody where they can find you at on YouTube and Instagram, so they can come by and check you out.
Yeah, FlippyMcFlipperson on Instagram and YouTube.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I have both his links down below in the description below. So what would be your final thoughts? Do you have any other final thoughts that you could impart on our audience before we let you go today?
Just, like I said, the biggest part to me reselling is research, knowing what to buy and what to sell. And also, if you're starting out in reselling, if you have questions, please reach out. I love to help new resellers any way I can. So shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll answer you and help you out as best I can.
Okay, hey, that sounds awesome. So anyways, guys, you guys go by and check out FlippyMcFlipperson. His YouTube channel, his links are down below. He does take a lot of time to edit his videos. Tell them about how long it takes you to edit one of your videos. Tell them real quick, because they don't know. If you don't have a YouTube channel, they don't have a clue. Tell them.
It depends. My top 10 every week, to do all the numbers and calculate, that's the longest part. It probably takes me 3 or 4 hours to do that 5 or 6 minute video.
Right. So that's why I said go follow him. If you don't like it, if you change your mind, you don't like it, you can tell him Jeff sent you. If you do like it, tell him Jeff sent you. Either way.
There you go.
All right. Either way. So, hey, thanks for coming on and hanging out with me today. And I want to thank everybody in our audience today for hanging out with me. I will see you guys tomorrow. I have eBliss Reseller Solutions will be on tomorrow, and they have an FBA model for eBay sellers. So if you want to learn more about that, they're going to be taking on new clients. I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. I think it's 3 p.m. Eastern. So I will see you guys then. You guys have a great day. Oh, yeah, one more thing. I'm going to be on tomorrow with Cajun Roots Reseller tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And I'm not even close to being a morning person. But if you guys want to come hang out with me and Johnny from Cajun Roots Reseller, I'll be there tomorrow at 9 a.m. So I will see you there. We're going to have lots of fun, and I'll see you guys then. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.